All right, everybody, welcome to Under the Canopy, brought to you by Dynamic Green Products, EGP, bio-based, zero compromise. Find all their products at changeyourOil.com. My name is Russell Owens. I am the Communications Director at DGP, and I have with me none other than the famous Marc Goldberg. Welcome,
I don't
Marc.
know about, I don't know about famous, Russ, but I appreciate that. That was
Marc
pretty good.
is the co-host of the Under the Canopy podcast. He is an arborist as well as a world-renowned author. I'm so happy to be able to partner with him on this podcast. This is our little intro to the podcast for you all, so you can kind of get an idea of who we are and what we'll be talking about on future episodes. So, Marc, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, thanks, Russ. Yeah, my name's Marc A. Goldberg. I've been an ISA certified arborist for over 20 years. Out in San Diego, California. Migrated my way here from the East Coast and worked for a few companies. We'll say a bunch of companies here in the San Diego area. Now I'm in the municipality side of things. And I'm just excited to have an opportunity to sit down with Russ here once a week and talk to folks in the green industry, landscapers, arborists, business owners, pretty much anybody in the green industry under the canopy. I'm excited to have that opportunity, Russ.
Outstanding. I am too. We've been talking about this for a while, so I'm excited that we finally able to launch this thing and make it happen. On my side of the canopy of the tree, so to speak, under the shared canopy that we're at, I've been in the landscaping world for a good quarter of a century now, probably about 25 years. Was in the military for about 10, and have just always loved outdoors. Lived all over the country, been all over the world. So just a lot of different varied experience, and that I'm sure I'll be able to tap into as we talk to different guests from all over the spectrum of this industry, whether it's up in the trees, down on the ground, and everywhere in between. I think it's and then especially with you being on the West Coast, myself being on the East Coast, that kind of helps as well, because I mean, right now you're probably, what are you, in the 70s still, 60s, 70s?
Yeah, Russ, I hate to admit, but still in my shorts today. Yeah, I was watering my plants outdoor on the patio. So yeah, I'm done complaining to people on the East Coast when I say I don't say cold anymore. It's cold out, because I know this is going to hurt people the wrong way. But when I say it's under 70, I get cold. So that's a whole nother story. But yeah, I get spoiled out here, Russ. That's all I got to say.
Oh, it is what it is. I mean, people choose to live where they live, right? I mean, like right now I think we're about 30 degrees. It's actually not bad, because it's just, it's that nice brisk type of weather. You've been, as far as the industry is concerned, with how long have you been an arborist for?
Yeah, I've been an arborist for over 20 years now. I worked the production side as a production manager. I worked my way up. Started as a groundsman, worked my way into production management, business development, and then again, I'm on the municipality side of things now. But it's a great industry to really work your way up. There's a lot of opportunity if you're willing to work hard, and you got to have the key ingredient in tree care. You gotta have a passion. You gotta love trees. If you don't love trees, it's just not going to work out, But if you have a passion for trees, there's so many people that are willing to help you out. And that's how I got my opportunities too, Russ. It wasn't like I had a lot of people, a lot of mentors that stepped up. And that's what I love about the green industry. A lot of people, if you're willing to put in 100%, everybody around you is they want to see you succeed. Even if it means that you're going to leave that company, at the end of the day, everybody's a big fan. If you come in the green industry, you have a passion for tree care, it's going to work out for you.
Well, the other thing I love about this industry as well, as a whole, the green industry, is if you come into this industry as a good person, and you're willing to learn, and you're willing to, get those mentorships, and really, like you said, put in 100%, 110% into it, then throughout your career, you will run into those same people in ways that you never expected to. And, different aspects of your career, and you'll find that people will remember you. But it's
Yeah.
such a small, it's a huge industry, but it's small at the same time.
Well, yeah, 100%. You nailed it. And there's so many people I've had the opportunity to manage later in my career that I might have seen on a landscape walk, HOA walk. You see it at a conference, a seminar, and you got talking with them, and you're like, oh, hey, I should, and all of a sudden their resume shows up on your desk. And that's what's great about the green industry. If you network and you you grind and you put your days in, over time, it's going to lead to opportunities, right? Or people know people, right? And I just in general, definitely in the green industry, but I think in general, right? If you know people and you go out there and do the right thing over and over again, it's going to pay back, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And that's what I've totally seen in the green industry. It's like, hey, he worked for this company. He's no longer there. He's looking for an opportunity. I remember him from a landscape walk. 9 times out of 10, it works out.
Yeah, I mean, it was I mean, I'm perfect example is my position right now with working for DGP.
Yeah.
I've known Scott, for those who are not familiar with DGP, Scott is the owner and founder of Dynamic Green Products. I met kind of came in contact with him back when he first started the company, back when it was under the NV Earth name, and I was working for a company called GeoRipper. I was building handheld trenchers, and came across him online, and we got to chatting, and he sent me some products, and I loved them, so I've been using them ever since. And that was what 8 years ago, 7 8 years ago. We've traveled in the same circles ever since, So, and then meeting you through DGP, something
Yeah.
that, what are the odds that 6 months ago that we would have been thinking like, oh, here in another 6 months, I'm going to be doing a podcast with this guy from the West Coast.
And it's a small world, right? I mean, we both met Scott different ways, and then how people bring that cobwebs interconnects everybody, right? And that's what's great. Um, and that's what I really love about just the green industry in general is just go out there and grind and put days in, and it leads to stuff like this. People, and that's one of the great things about the green industry for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and for those listening to this podcast or watching it, I guess as well, either way, that's part of what we want to do here with Under the Canopy is to bring people from all over the industry to this podcast so that we can introduce them to a whole new audience. And, you never know, by listening to this podcast, you might listen to someone you might be a landscaper and you listen to a tree guy, and that, inspires you to learn more about tree work. And then down the road, you connect with that person or someone else, or, whatever it may be. But that's really what we're about here is wanting to really bring anybody under the same canopy, and completely intended. But all walks of life, all the different bits and pieces that we do, and maybe a part where you're like, oh, I didn't realize how closely related that section of the industry was to what I do.
And I think what's really, I mean, definitely when it comes to landscape and tree care, it's amazing how they directly affect each other, right? And if a landscaper is doing something good or not, something's going on with the turf and maybe a pesticide or something got into the turf area and then the tree doesn't look good, maybe irrigation schedules on the landscape side, all that's connected. And there's many times I've reached out to a landscaper and said, hey, what's the irrigation schedule here? And we've ended up changing irrigation schedules to save trees. We ended up rerouting irrigation, moving irrigation outside the drip line and just making adjustments. So it's really important to have relationships with other vendors. Because it goes a long way, and not to point blame, but to create a solution so you can take care of the same client.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's a big key of it, is familiarizing yourself enough to where it's, the age old adage of knowing enough to be dangerous, right? If
Yeah.
you are familiar just enough with how different components work, then you can have, like you said, the conversation about the irrigation, something that some people might not even think, like, why is this tree's dying? I don't know why. And they just kind of throw up their hands and give up, when it's something that's actually a pretty easy solution if you just take the time to really dive in there a little bit and make those connections. Again, it's all about the connections and working together.
Yeah, to save those trees, For the side I'm on, still to this day, is it's trees, trees, trees. But the overall health of trees is directly related to the soil and to how an area is being landscaped or not being landscaped. It's all interconnected. And and you got to create those relationships and work with landscapers and to come up with solutions. And that's what's great about it, kind of like a detective. What's wrong with a tree and how can you get it better? And sometimes it's a quick fix or easy, we just need to eliminate turf or put down mulch. Sometimes it's more complicated than that, but it's definitely having those relationships is a huge, huge deal.
Well, I mean, obviously we've talked a lot on where we want this podcast to go and the types
Sure.
of guests we want to have on. But at the end of the day, when someone listens to one of these episodes, what are some of the things you're hoping for them to take away from it?
Yeah, I think the interconnections of what goes in under the canopy, from relationships to the soil that's shared by the shrubs and the trees and the turf. It's all interconnected. The irrigation. I think that's and everything it's all tied in, right? It's not just like this is the landscape, these are the trees, right? It's about how everything's interconnected under the canopy and the relationships too. Um, as as individuals, how we can grow as individuals through networking, and how we're all interconnected from how we get CUs, credit hours as arborists, and how we learn and how we build relationships. I think there's so much that goes into landscape that people sometimes either aren't aware of what it takes really to have a landscape thrive.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. It's such a huge industry and so many components to it that I think that definitely gets missed. And I think from the standpoint of someone who is, especially from the standpoint of those who are trying to get their foot in the door, trying to, whether it's trying to start their own business or just even get into the industry as a whole, there can be a lack of confidence in what they do and what they're trying to present because they're not really embracing the fact that it is so huge. And so when you go to a client and you're talking to about something and they're thinking, because that client is going to look at you and say, well, it's just lights, or it's just some bushes being put in, or it's just this, or it's just that, in their head. And if you feel like it's that, like if you're agreeing with them basically in your head, then it's going to come across. Whereas if you have that confidence and you say, look, no, it's so much bigger than just me because here's components A through D, and that's just what I'm doing, but also all of these other, key parts of it. And they talk to the homeowner about that, or they talk to the municipality about that, or whoever it is that they're servicing, whoever that client is, they'll come across with that confidence and they'll be able to educate that customer more so by having those interconnections, don't you think?
Yeah, no, the relationship is huge. The relationships I have with coworkers, the relationships I have with the manufacturers, the relationships I have with dealers of equipment, relationships I have with my team. And I'm talking about the municipality side, but when I was in the private sector, it's the same thing. You build up a bunch of relationships that all help each other out. What equipment do I need to do the job? Who can I contact to get that equipment? Do I need to purchase that equipment? Do I need to lease that equipment? Do I sub the work out? You know, I'm not sure about that. Do I talk to a consulting arborist? Something, there's so much. So as years go on, I'm better because of all those experiences about the people I built around me. I'm only as good as my team, right? And the team isn't just the people you work with every day. It's a team out there as vendors, manufacturers, and those other relationships that you have, people that you know in other municipality spaces. I need to get access to a certain area. Okay, I know who I need to contact that. It's the years of experience adds up, and that's what's exciting. Um, you put all that together and go, okay, I got to lean on this one. I got to go in this direction. And it's not because I know, it's because I bumped my head 100 times. I got up, I dusted myself off and figured it out. And just, and that's the advice I would give to anybody that's coming in the industry. Not just grind and work hard, but stay positive. You are going to mess up. I've messed up. I lost track, but just get up, figure it out, and make it right. And at the end of the day, take care of your customers. That's
Absolutely.
number one for
Well, I
sure.
think, that's what, here with Under the Canopy, we really want to focus on bringing a big variety of guests, but bringing guests where they all have their own story to bring, their own story to tell, and their own expertise in those
Yeah,
different
100%.
fields so that we can all, anyone who listens, including you, yourself and myself as well, like, being able to have these conversations with these folks and learn something that we didn't know either, and that's what it's all about, the education side of it.
100%. And there's definitely folks that I'm going to reach out to and see if we can get them on the podcast. Maybe not right away, but down the road. But there's definitely folks, how they operate their business. What can I learn from them? What do they know about trees? What do they know about landscape? Like, could I utilize that the way I run my business day to day and what I do? And I think that's what's exciting and fun about it is getting a diverse group of guests that want to join us and just have conversations.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That's the exciting part is having conversations with folks that, for me, that I've never met before, but share the same passions.
A 100%.
That's the key component that we all share is the passion for this industry. At least hopefully, if you don't have a passion for the industry, then get out of the industry.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to kill you if you don't have a passion for it, right? Because when you start counting hours in life, anyways, right? Look, Russ, you know as much as me. Landscapers and tree care professionals, we get up early. We're up when it's dark, and 9 times out of 10, we're going home when it's dark. Um, and that's just the industry. And we're not counting hours. We're figuring out how we're going to create solutions and just to have an opportunity to speak to people and learn from people from a diverse backgrounds, why they went into a certain direction. I know landscapers that worked in the tree care. I know a lot of tree guys that worked their way into landscape and love landscape more.
Yeah,
People that are manufacturers, reps that have a strong landscape background or tree background. And I know people that grew up as mechanics and they're even better for it because they maintain a lot of their own equipment. They've saved money. They see things differently as someone who doesn't really know as much about stuff mechanically. Maybe they lease instead equipment instead of owning it. Everybody has a certain way they're running their business and why they're doing it. And some stuff works for some people. Some stuff doesn't work for some people. Some stuff works for people maybe on the West Coast that wouldn't work on the East Coast. So just to have an opportunity to have conversations with people throughout the country and eventually globally, I hope to, Russ, that we can talk to people from all over the place and see how they, what they do under the canopy. That's what really excites me about this.
absolutely. It is such a well, and being in this virtual world that we're in, it allows us that, ability, like just you and I right now. I'm in North Carolina, you're in California. We're having this
Yeah.
conversation real time, so we can bring folks from all over the world literally together at the same time to be able to make this happen. But, for those listening and or watching this, we're really excited to have you on board with us. Make sure obviously that you subscribe and link and check the marks and all the other things that you're supposed to do in order to follow along on this journey that we have. Whether you're watching us it'll be on YouTube, of course, but it'll also be on all the streaming platforms in the podcast version of it, the audio only podcast version. So a lot of different ways to be able to connect with us. But yeah, we just want to make sure that everybody is part of this journey, part of this crazy idea that we had.
It's not crazy, Russ. I'm so excited about this.
And make
This is
sure
awesome.
before I forget, make sure to get yourself a copy of an arborist point of view from Under the Canopy by none other than Marc A. Goldberg himself. So make sure to get yourself a copy. It is available on Amazon. So make sure to.
And obviously, Russ, a giant thanks to Dynamic Green Products, DGP, changeoil.com. Great products. We wouldn't be here if we didn't believe in it. And just excited to have an opportunity to sit down with you once a week and meet some great folks.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And we will be making it happen about once a week or so. So make sure to do the subscribe thing and notification thing, all the usual stuff you do for your favorite podcast, because then you will be in the know when we have a new episode come out, and then you'll be able to follow us. And speaking of following you're on LinkedIn as your name. You're on Instagram as well. What's your handle on Instagram?
Arborist_Marc, arborist Marc on Instagram, and then Marc A. Goldberg on LinkedIn. Yeah. Give me a follow.
There we go. You can, mine's a little bit weird on Instagram. It's Hecubus_Hassenpfeffer.
You're going to have to spell that out for everybody, Russ.
Hard for that one to see, but you can also follow DGP Works or any of the DGP underscore. So there's DGP Tree Care, Auger, Scaper, Farmer, anything with DGP underscore, and then something else is going to be our accounts. I take care of a lot of our social accounts, so you can follow there as well and get in the know on it. But Marc, I'm looking forward to this. I can't wait for our first guest and to get this thing rolling.
Sounds great, Russ. Yeah, I'm beyond excited as well.
And as Marc said, make sure to go to changeyouroil.com to find all of the great products that Dynamic Green Products, aka DGP, has available, as you can see from my shirt. And we are also in the Do It Best stores. Make sure to have that one right there. And I have all of my supplies behind me as well. So make sure to stay tuned for more, because we are going to be having some amazing conversations. Thank you so much for this little brief intro into Under the Canopy.